Hey guys, so this video is about the words that you should be learning. More specifically, the most commonly used words in a language. So in every language, doesn't matter which language, there's always a set of words that are the most commonly used words in that language. I like to break it up by 2,000 and 5,000. Reason being is simply because that's what I put in Google. Um, right? So the reason we want to learn these words are because they're very useful. I mean, just saying what I said, they are the most commonly used words. That's pretty useful words to know, right? They're found in everyday conversations, in books, literally everywhere across the language, which is why we want to learn them. And doing this gives you a word list that is pretty useful, right? It's not just a random word list with like the word ruler. Like the word ruler, we don't use it that much in conversation, so it's low frequency, it's lower on the I need to know list, right? And this is where the list comes in handy, right? You have a list of the words that are more likely to show up in a conversation. So how do you access these lists, right? Go to Google, and what I'm about to say is literally what I do step by step. So I go to Google and I type in, what are the 2,000 most commonly used words in X language? So that could be French, Burmese, Swedish, whatever language. The other search I also do, and I usually start with this one, is what are the 5,000 most commonly used words in X language? Russian, German, Navajo. All right, that's just what I do. And then I scroll through, click on whatever catches my eye. All right, I'll let you know right now, there's a website called Memrise. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyways, they do have a good amount of lists for different languages. Um, they're not sponsored. They're not sponsoring me. I mean, I've used them a few times. And to get access to the language list, you don't have to subscribe or anything to them. I usually just Google search, click, and I get access to the list right away. So that's a good thing about them. And there are other websites and providers. You just go through Google and see which one you like. So when you come across the 2,000 or 5,000 word list, break it up however you see fit, right? If you think you could learn 100 words in a week or 2 weeks, break it up like that. I don't know how you study best. You know how you study best, so break it up in that way, all right? I will also make a video at some point describing how I learn words at a faster pace, all right? Now, if you have your version, if you've found a way to learn words at a fast pace, just do it that way, okay? Don't worry about how I do it yet. I will make a video about that at some point. So, another thing to keep in mind, probably like the last thing to keep in mind is when you search for these words, not every language will have a word list that is as long as 2,000 or 5,000 words. This is because you maybe looked up a language that is less popular, maybe endangered or has gone extinct, right? However, the more major languages like a Japanese, Mandarin, German, or Swedish will be found, right? The more major languages are typically going to be languages with those larger word lists that have been documented, of course. Now, it is true that every language has a set of most commonly used words, right? It just happens that maybe it wasn't documented for your language, the one you're learning. All right, so just keep that in mind, that the advice stays true even if someone did not document those words for you. In which case you would probably be in an unfortunate situation. But there are other ways you could get vocab, all right? One way could be just like downloading a movie script and you're like, oh, all these words, right? So yeah, that is my advice for the words you should be learning in your language. Those again being the most commonly used words. And now you know how to look up the words you need. And yeah, those would be the words I focus on the most when I'm learning a new language. All right. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know. And I'll get back to you guys as soon as possible. All right. Have a good night.